So these are Powerglides from Smith & Wesson. Now what is this thing dangling on here? This is actually super cool. So this came with a belt clip. The belt clip's actually removable as well. But it has this piece here so that you can clip this onto your belt, bag, whatever. And you can see this freely hangs here. And it's not going to fall off unless it goes sideways. So how this is built is to remove this, you have to turn it, completely sideways, and then it'll slide off the track. So there's a nub here, right, with a slot cut into it. It doesn't go in on this way. It literally has to go sideways to go down the track. So this way, as you're moving around, it can freely swing around and not fall off easily. Even if you go upside down, it rotates with it. You know what I'm saying? So it has to literally be just like this, and it wouldn't really come off because the weight of it would just swing back down. So it is extremely secure, but when you need it, sideways, up, and out. So that's a very cool mounting piece. And if you haven't seen one of these, the Powerglides are a Paratrooper style knife. There are many companies that make this style. If you look at this, you're like, oh, it's kind of cool. You can find these for like $6 at Bud K. Not this design, but the mechanism or a very similar style. So you pull the handles apart, all right? And we see that there are two arms here that are actually pinned to the blade, and there's some gears. So as you're pulling this apart, it's pushing the blade open, and once it gets to this middle point, it folds the other direction, and when you go to close the handles, it goes fully out. There happens to be a little clip in here, okay, with a bar or a tube that snaps in, so it's very secure. It takes a little bit of pressure to unsnap it, and there you go, you have your knife. Now what's so cool about this design, obviously, is that it's not going to fold on you. It's not like a liner lock or even a frame lock. A frame lock, even though it's basically a really thick liner lock, essentially, right? There's just no way this can fail and cut you. The blade has to break off. It's kind of like a Balisong in that sense. It's not going to fail, all right? So yeah, it's just super cool. Smith & Wesson, Powerglide one, obviously the black coated Tanto. All right, this one has that nub, which has that mounting system. This is marked first production run, 1 of 5,000. All right, designed by Rocky Moser, patent pending. So just a blast from the past. Very cool knife. Let me know in the comment section if you happen to have one of these. Again, I have multiple Paratrooper style knives, including a World War II Paratrooper knife, which I think I've showed before. If I haven't showed that before, let me know if I don't have a video. If you watch them all, that's cool. Thank you. Thanks for watching them all. But, a video is certainly due. But yeah, so that's one version of this knife. Then we have a different version here. So this one has a sheath, and the belt clip is in the sheath. Same thing, just like molded polymer. Right? But that's because this one does not have that little nub on it. Okay, so it has to use the sheath. So this one's a little bit different, a little bit heavier in comparison, a little bit bigger, also has a different blade style. Obviously we have green scales instead of black scales, different, shapes here. So pop this open, works the exact same way. All right, so you can see the little clip goes onto the post. All right, and this guy just has a different blade profile with the camo on there, but same thing, Smith & Wesson Powerglide. This one's actually the 2, so it's the second generation of this knife, again with that design change, and also first production run. All right, very cool. So yeah, I mean, like I said, these are actually very large knives. You can see them compared to everything else on the table. They're pretty beefy and heavy and chunky and stuff, but they're just really cool. These are knives that, for me, again, it's 1000% nostalgia. It's something I take out and play with. It's not something that I'm going to be EDCing, although they work fine for that. I just like preserving a little piece of knife history. This is part of my childhood, my youth. I say youth, but it was more like teenager years, as opposed to like, I didn't have one of these when I was 7 or anything like that. But anyway, just, again, cool blast in the past. Let me know in the comment section if you've had Smith & Wesson Powerglides or if you still have them in your collection.